One of our readers worked for Adobe.com, and when the Obergefell decision was handed down, Adobe required that everybody put the gay rainbow behind their name at work, and he declined to participate. And I think he said in some kind of social media forum at work that was public that he didn't view it as something to celebrate, and Adobe came down on him. I probably shouldn't say Adobe. Sorry.
Well, I mean, we're at a place right now that this happened probably a while ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the reality, because I know that there are companies that if you don't support the rainbow ideology, you are looked upon as being somebody who was a rogue, who's a bad employee. You need to talk about equality. They've defined the terms, and you have to accept the terms.
Right.
They define ideology. They're a company that provides either a software solution, maybe a soft drink solution, maybe a food or something else.
Yeah.
But that does not make them experts in human relationships.
Yeah.
And they're taking that role. They're almost acting as if they are giving doctrinal pronouncements on the family.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So they're really overstepping their boundaries, and oftentimes our government does the same thing. So I don't know that, it's one company, but it's representative of many companies that do this.
And a culture.
Yeah.
So one of our readers had this happen. He was, several of his peers also said, we're not going along with this. We don't think it's great. But because he had been looking at the underlying statistics and the common law behind these issues, he was able to really clearly articulate children deserve to have their mom and their dad, and I think we should celebrate a family setting that allows a child to have a mom and a dad. And it literally saved his job and saved all of his coworkers that shared that same opinion because he could articulate it so clearly.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good to hear that. I know that when I worked at one place, and I'll go ahead and say it. There was a time that I worked for Frito-Lay, and they wanted people, who's going to participate in the LGBTQ parade.
Oh my God.
Not me. But you could get your picture there. You were a participant. I don't know if you got any extra kudos for this. That we're supporting this stuff, and it's not an issue of equal rights. And this is the falsity behind the ideology. They would like to say it's an issue of equal rights, but if people are enslaved to something that's destructive, why are we celebrating that? And if this type of destructive ideology is hurting our children and our grandchildren down the road, currently or down the road, why are we celebrating these things? It used to be normal that we would celebrate a regular family, not these, and I hate to say it in this way because it's going to sound bad, but the oddities in a sense right now. I guess the oddities are becoming more normal, but if you look back throughout the span of history, in almost every culture, through millennia, family was defined as a mother and a father with children, and often, if anything, extended relatives, extended family were involved in that family unit. It was not even just a nuclear family.
Right.
But it was not like, Sally and Sarah or Tim and John being the parents. And now we have, first off, two people of the same gender cannot produce a child. It takes a man and a woman. And there's got to be something in that to say, well, it takes a man and a woman to create a child. One would lead further to say it takes a man and a woman to help rear that child, to make this child a social being, to give that child the identity. The child's identity is already rooted with a male and a female. The rest of his or her identity should be formed within that same context. I mean, does that seem to kind of make sense to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but now I guess from what I hear you say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, it was partly the same-sex issue that got you driven toward this a little bit at the beginning. Is that correct?
But only because it created this profile that gave you an opportunity to see, are women replaceable?
Right. Or are men replaceable?
Yeah. Can either of these genders be thrown away? Can you have an exclusively male family unit, a fatherless home and a motherless home? Are those
Yeah.
Is it just about numbers, or can those things
Yeah.
equate?
So I think, though, when we look at that, that's already to some degree what we have in a different sense. Because within America, especially starting in 1969, when Governor Reagan signed no-fault divorce into being, and he later on said it was the worst mistake he made in public office. But when he did that, in essence, the government was saying, a child only needs a mother or a father.
Yeah, and that mothers and fathers aren't essential, and also more problematic, it is not essential for a child to see the relationship between their mother and their father, which is absurd.
Right.
There's a point to a child having a mother and a father and
Yeah.
seeing how these two beings interact together.
Right. And even if they have a difficult time, there was one lady that I spoke with, and she said, when I got married, my father was not around because my parents got divorced. And her experience was she did not have the tools in her tool chest to know how to deal with a man-woman relationship. And she would say, hey, I'm failing. I don't know how I'm failing. I'm looking for help. I know I'm failing, but I've never been equipped with this. And so what she was saying at the same time then is growing up in a household with only one parent basically made her ill-equipped for life. So divorce impacts not just the two adults, it impacts the children, it impacts their future. And what I say a lot of times to people is that marriage is for the children. Divorce is for adults, and many times because of our no-fault divorce system, just for one adult. One adult at any time, for any reason, for no reason, for a made-up reason, can leave the marriage, force divorce, and break up the family. And that is what our government has said. The United States ideology has said, this is a good thing. So if you already have an ideology that says, we really don't need both parents, they're redefining the definition of family, but they're also redefining parenthood. And if you start to redefine parenthood, well, if one mother is good, maybe two mothers are better. If one father is good, maybe two fathers are better. Well, maybe thruples are better. Maybe have them raised up in a compound.
Falling apart at the, yeah.
Right. And so, I look at the issue of marriage and family formation as being a national security issue. One person that I spoke with recently was talking about how children of divorce are often more easily recruited into organizations like ISIS, more easily recruited into gang activity, more likely to drop out of high school, more likely to be imprisoned, more likely to end up pregnant as a girl, a young unwed girl, more likely to be addicted to drugs, alcohol. Every single social malady, bar none, a child of divorce has a greater chance, and sometimes it's by a factor of multiples.
Right.
Of becoming a victim of. So when you start to destroy a society, you can destroy it either externally or you can destroy it internally. And what's been happening is that we have been destroying our society internally through the destruction of the family. And that's something that I think we need to have stopped. So I think that on a lot of these issues, we're kind of on the same way. I've approached it from a different level as far as why I got involved, because when you look at no-fault divorce, for example, forced divorce, divorce on demand, one person asks for divorce and it's a lawsuit, and the respondent will never have a defense, can never win. And the children can never win. The children want to see parents living together, not split apart.
Right.
But that goes back to what you were talking about, the importance of both mother and father.
Yeah.
So we're kind of on the same page with that too.
Yeah.
What do you think about grandparents and, say, aunts and uncles? Because there are some people that say, well, the family today is just the nuclear family, mother, father, son, daughter. But biblically speaking,
because the family today is failing. So.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. And you're right. So, I would look at it, and you made a very interesting point there. I don't know if you meant to make this, but the family used to be defined as, in broader terms, the extended family. If you look at a biblical family, the grandparents had a very important role. The uncle had a very important role. All of these people had very important roles, but then once you come to America, maybe 100, 110 years ago, we've redefined family as a nuclear family. Mother, father, son, daughter, and now we make a whole bunch of rights based on parental rights as if only parents are important. I'm not saying they aren't important, but grandparents are necessary.
Right.
to development as uncles and aunts and stuff like that.
And they have studies that reflect that that a child gains their identity from their family. Like I was talking about their this existential crisis of not having access to your parents. It comes from the fact that a child looks to their family to gain a sense of identity and a sense of the permanence of love, the sense that they can trust love and that love lasts as a full generation. And it's not enough to be able to look to their parents and say, oh, that this is the meaning of me. It's the ability to look at their parents, knowing that their parents had parents who made these same sacrifices,
Right.
and that this is an intergenerational gift.
Right. Yes, I like that. Intergenerational gift, history.
Yeah,
A family.
and they have full studies about how children do better when they have that sense of family identity. When they look at their family and say, well, our identity is, we're patriots. We're an army family.
Yeah.
That helps them understand who they are in relation to this larger intergenerational gift.
Right. And the problem that is taking place today is that there are so many fractured identities that they've never had an identity.
Yeah. And then all of these adult cultural propaganda, for lack of a better word, coming in and saying, you should accept this is working out for you, this is your better mom,
Yeah.
and forcing a child to sit through this, knowing in their heart, this is baloney and I don't accept this, but I'm not allowed to speak out because I'm being spoon-fed this. It's very problematic for children. They don't have the opportunity to be authentic and to talk about how this is harming them. And because children aren't allowed to respond in an authentic way, then all the adults in the room say, see, it was a success.
Yeah. So you're talking about silencing children.
Yes, just by very nature of saying, I had to do what's best for me, and the culture reinforcing that.